So thank you very much for attending this session. So this year I would like to give you an update about the blockchain technology. So we saw lots of changes specific in the last year where we can see that the technology itself becomes more in the enterprise and in the professional segmentation. So, but before we start, it all starts with a disclaimer. So please get it through and then I will continue. I guess you did it. Thank you. So just in regards to the agenda, we have a couple of points. So what is the blockchain technology? So I will describe it in a little bit more easier way to understand it. Then what is cryptocurrency mining? Just going through about what the changes are specific in regards to the last 6 months. Then return of invest, which is always the important point to purchase hardware. Then ASIC versus GPU compute mining, because there are lots of different solutions in the market we can see with different use cases. And then a little bit about security and on and off-chain communication. This is specific a security topic where lots of companies are looking currently into it. And last but not least, showing you a couple of solutions, which you already saw here. At the Boston I went from different partners with different applications. So, but before we start, I just would like to express, because people are asking about, okay, I know it's a distributed ledger technology, but what is a distributed ledger technology? So, in very easy words, we're talking about a database, right? So, the blockchain technology is nothing specific to hardware. It's software, it's a database. And what is a database? A database is a book. And a book has pages, it has page numbers, and it has data into it. And the challenge currently with the current solutions is that there must be somebody, an institution, which you trust to keep the data secure and to keep the data accurate. So the challenge, for example, if somebody is changing data, taking pages out, it's very difficult to recognize for all those people. And therefore, the industry and the community was looking about, okay, how can we improve security for standard databases? And they came out with a solution, okay, let's change 2 things. The first thing is we want to have it decentralized. So that means that this book is not owned by a specific individual institution. It will be owned by every participant connected to the blockchain. And the second step will be you can only add data to this database. And for adding data to the base, you need to get validations. So that means if I would like to add a specific data, you need to confirm it, you, and you. So everybody needs to confirm it based on an algorithm running behind. And therefore, you are getting the most secured database where it is impossible to hack, to intrude it, and to change any data. And as spoken before, the third point is you can't delete data officially of such blockchain-based databases. So that means everything which is written there is there. And just thinking about still the biggest area, the financial segmentation, it's very good for a currency because I can always record each and every transaction. It doesn't matter if it's 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So if somebody is asking me, for example, the government, okay, where did you get the tokens? Why you have transferred the tokens to this and that individual? I can always track it. So if you really think about, because lots of people are thinking, okay, Bitcoin is just used for criminals and they're buying weapons and drugs and whatever. So they're doing it with cash. So with cash, it's really anonymous, right? So because nobody can really track it. But tokens can be tracked. And just giving you an example, Japanese governments, they are quite enhanced already, specific with exchange services. They are driving within their country. So they can exactly track every token transaction. And maybe you ask yourself, yeah, but stop. I can read so many things that they got Bitcoin stolen with millions in value. That's right. But this is not stolen from the database. This was stolen during the transaction. Just think about you're going to the ATM machine, picking up $100, somebody's knocking you down, taking the $100. That's exactly the problem. So the bank behind is secure, but the transaction, this is the unsecure part. And this is also something I would like to explain, where we are working on more secured, cryptographically secured transaction algorithms. But before we start, there is a big update in the industry, which is very interesting. So we started about 2 years ago just investigating about the blockchain technology. And frankly spoken, 2 years ago, there was nearly no real application in the market, right? So this has changed dramatically since 2017. So beside the crypto finance segmentation, we have the smart contracts. Smart contracts is becoming a standard for lots of applications. Just think about charging electrical cars. This is still one of the biggest part to use this kind of algorithm. So you have a car, electrical car, and you have a wallet installed in your car, and the car is connected to the grid. So you're coming to a traffic light, and you stand still. Traffic light is red. Car will detect there is a power line. I can charge you. Okay, it will charge your car 20 seconds as long as the traffic light becomes green. Then you're paying automatically, and you can drive further. So such kind of micro contracts, for example, it's a must-given to have these kind of algorithms called smart contracts. Or just think about moving into a garage with your car. So you don't need to take a ticket, then you park your car, you go shopping, you go back, paying the ticket, and then driving out. No, this will be done automatically. So you just drive in, the garage will detect, okay, this car is capable with a wallet, it will open, you can drive in, and then it will just charge you for the time you are in this garage. And think one step further, maybe some of you read already some articles about the next big step will be drone highways. So Japan is already quite advanced. They will start with the first drone highway next year, which is based on the Ethereum protocol. Drone highway means delivery drones. So it's quite interesting. So because the first time I heard about that, I thought, I don't think so. This will come soon because a drone will not land in front of me giving me the package. It's too dangerous, right? So therefore, they working with the house construction builders. So the idea is specific in big cities where the drone is landing on the skyscraper, and then there's a small elevator, and this small elevator will bring your package into a package room. You get an SMS or an email. Package has been delivered. Please pick it up. On the next level, talking about smart cities, they are planning all the new buildings with a complete elevator-based system. So that means they can move then your package already to the right recipient without any package room in between. And maybe you also saw here in Germany, there is lots of things going on between the drone taxis. And I think this absolutely makes sense. Think about going to the airport. So I live in Augsburg. It's a nightmare to go to the airport. It always takes me about 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. And think about going into the inner city maybe, or a little bit outside the city, taking the drone, and the drone will take maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and then you are at the airport. Other thing is, and this is also what Japan is driving very hard, in the business segmentation in big cities. Same thing. So you have a meeting on the other end of the city. It takes you almost 1 hour or even longer taking the taxi. So you just go on top of the roof, taking a drone, and 5 minutes later you are at your next meeting. So those will be the first use cases you will see practically working in the next 2 years. So Japan will start 2019. With the delivery drones, and the next step with they call it car drones. It will start in 2020, and they are currently working with the GmbH, that's the Japanese Blockchain Association, to legalize the system. Governments. Governments is a very interesting part. So governments, you need to think about land registration or election. So specific in countries where you have high corruption, like in Africa, they are doing the landmark registration within a blockchain-based data center. So that means you can't do any stupid game afterwards and just giving money and then getting the land license. So that's not possible anymore. And the second point is for election systems. We all see, even in Europe, that people are voting twice, dead people are voting. So with a clear token identity, you can prohibit such kind of bad game manipulating such kind of systems. And there is much more what we can see as well in regards to immigrants. We saw a system running where a specific country is not paying money. They're giving the people specific token because everybody has a smartphone nowadays. It doesn't matter where this person is coming from. And with that specific tokens, you can buy food, you can buy clothes, whatever you need to survive. Microgrids is very interesting. So microgrids in terms of big power plants or solar power grid manufacturers. For example, Siemens, they're doing this in Brooklyn, in New York. So they put solar power on top of the roofs. And so now you're all at work and you don't consume power, but the sun is shining and your house is coming up with the power, and maybe your neighbor is at home and your neighbor can consume the power. So that means on the fly, with a smart contract, your neighbor can purchase the power you are producing on top of your roof. And the next big thing is licensing. So licensing, I would say, is also one of the biggest items you will see in the next couple of months. So think about a token identity. So a token identity is unique. That means you can control a specific license and you can personalize it. So you can really prevent any black copies like for Windows, what we can see, and other applications. So you can really have a clear token identity. And the next thing with that licenses will be that you can even sell this license again, which currently is also impossible. Think about applications or even games, and you will see some nice portals coming back or build on that solution. Then today, or this year, 2018, is definitely the IoT business. Think about the IoT business. In the next 1 to 2 years, you will have about 10 times more interacting sensors than people on planet Earth. And those sensors must be accurate in terms of the data generation and data validation. That's the biggest problem the industry faced in the past years. If somebody is hacking the server or the server goes down, think about smart home, for example, then your webcam was not working or somebody was watching your webcam instead of you. So therefore, the IoT business is a big partner for this kind of systems. And what we can see is not only smart home, it's also in regards to track expensive things. Think about art. So it's always a problem. Is this picture true or is it a copy of something? So the idea is to put specific sensors on those things where you can track the complete lifetime of the product. So you can do this with red wine, you can do this with art, you can even do this with clothes to prevent this is a fake clothes, for example. So there are lots of things where the industry is working on, or the car industry is working for supply chain management. So that means they will put such sensors on each and every car piece to track it, where it is, and when it will arrive, in which condition it will be. So for example, carriers on a big ship, on these big carriers, they are using this kind of system. So with that sensors, they're tracking already the temperature, the condition, has it been open? Has somebody went into it, taking something out, and such kind of things. And those are the use cases we can actually see in that kind of environment. Enterprise blockchain data centers, this is exactly what we have spoken. It's a database, so Microsoft is using it for Coco. It's called Azure, the cloud solution. Then Oracle is using it. SAP is currently investigating how to implement it into their ecosystem. So what we can see, it will become a standard. It's just a matter of time, having the people together, defining consortiums and defining an overall standard about. And specific in regards to standards, so there are already a couple of consortiums like the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and AMD, for example, joined this alliance as well past year, so it was Q4 last year, where we are working with enterprise customers together to look into the technology and to define the technology, specific in regards to standards. Because, okay, you have a piece of software, but it must fit to every technology. You need to make sure it is on a secure manner, so somebody can't intrude or manipulate it. And such kind of things are discussed in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, where, by the way, about 90% of the business cases as of now are based on the Ethereum protocol. Then coming to mining, so they continuously coming new coins or ICOs on the market where will be capable for GPU mining as well as for ASIC mining. Then the next step, what will be, is specific in terms of mining. So you all know this DIY IKEA concept, where the people are just putting a standard motherboard, Razer card, graphics card. This is the technology from yesterday. And as evolution is going on, it is becoming more professional, so more enterprise grade, because the people, they don't want to put the effort on it to maintenance it, to build it, to install the software, because this is all complicated and is requiring people and a lot of knowledge to do so. So therefore, we can see more and more very interesting technologies coming out. So here, for example, is one system which you can put into liquid completely, so to have it more enterprise grade. And not only for blockchain compute mining, so you can also do the rendering stuff, or later on AI and deep learning. So there are lots of technologies around this concept, what we can see. And people asking, and including ourselves, so the biggest concern from my management was always, we need to be carefully. Why we need to be carefully? What will happen if there is a crash coming again, like 2013, and then the people are all selling their graphics cards into the second-hand market? And I mentioned, well, valid point, but this won't be happen. And why it will not happen. So there is a big difference to 2013. So first of all, 2013 was not the coin crash preventing all those GPU miners for mining. It was the ASIC, right, from Bitmain, which was much more efficient and much better for this kind of service. And the second point, in 2013, there wasn't a single enterprise application behind crypto. So there was only crypto on blockchain, nothing else. The first OEM worldwide investigating in that field was IBM in 2014, building blockchain-based solutions in the finance segmentation, or for the finance segmentation, as well as for the IoT. And it's quite interesting. So last time we have spoken, they have already about 4,000 people just working in that business segmentation. Yeah, then 2013, we had about maybe 10 different coins. So now we have above 1,500 different ICOs. That means there is a big difference to that time. We have consortiums. So on the finance segmentation, it's the R3. So even the bank accounts, they recognized, if we are not doing anything, then we will really get rid of that technology, and the people will pass by. So therefore, it's in their high interest to invest into this technology. And I can tell you that a lot of bank accounts, they are already using the blockchain-based ecosystem behind for transaction between different bank accounts. So coming to the currency mining, the blockchain compute mining. So people always asking how this system is working, why it is working. And I think the most easiest thing to explain cryptocurrency mining is the analogy of gold mining, because it's totally the same. So first of all, gold, as long as we are living on planet Earth, is limited, right? So, and the next big thing is, the more people are starting to dig for gold, the more difficult it will be for the individual. So if I'm the first person thinking about the gold rush, it's very easy. I go to the lake and look for gold. Oh, here's a nugget, fine, I'm becoming rich. So similar thing we saw the past 2 years on the cryptocurrency mining as well. There were only less people digging into this technology, taking the nuggets. In our case, we're talking about tokens, not nuggets, and keeping the network alive. And of course, the more people are starting to dig into this, the more difficult it will be. So, and therefore, yeah, in the beginning, we had just one GPU or even a notebook system on a processor was able to mine Bitcoin. And I just remember this funny story where somebody a couple of years ago paid about 100 Bitcoins for a piece of pizza. So, nice investment. And then we saw the GPU rigs, right? So the rigs were nothing else. This is what I call IKEA concept. So they just put the graphics cards, 6, they started 8 cards, 12 cards, 18 cards, 22 cards into one rig, connecting it to the motherboard and starting to mine. And of course, the next step is to have a farm where they put about 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K, up to 300K within one specific facility to do the mathematical calculations behind. And also lots of people are talking or asking the questions, Jörg, this absolutely makes no sense. This consumes so much power. How they can afford this? And from the ecological point of view, I fully agree. I was also thinking in the first step, logic, no, makes no sense. This will never survive. And then I just asked the major customers, how do you get the power? How much you pay for power? 1 to 2 cents per kilowatt hour? Yes. And I asked them why you're paying so less for power. So I'm paying at home 28 cents per kilowatt hour. And they mentioned about specific, and this is very interesting to know, specific about the alternative energy. So talking about solar, talking about wind power. The power manufacturers, specific for nuclear power plants, they have now a big issue to regulate their power. So that means for those power manufacturers, it is not good to regulate. So that means in the morning I need more power because everybody stands up. Then maybe it's going down, and in the evening it's going up again. So this is what costs them millions. So therefore, if a customer is coming and telling them, okay, I take 10 megawatt continuously, be my friend. You are paying if you're not taking the power. Okay. And this is exactly where we can see around the globe having such kind of contracts. And I can tell you that this power problem we have currently is massive. It's massive. And you can even see this in Europe, where those facilities, they pay nothing for power. It is the reality. So, and it looks like also that there are lots of buildings empty with power contracts, and so there are lots of opportunities for such kind of companies to drive the technology forward. Why the Polaris architecture is more efficient, and this is specific a point I like because I'm also an engineer and I'm not really emotional about products. So therefore, and the mining is the same. It's the ROI, the return of invest. So that means the better the hash rate, the lower the power consumption, and the cheaper the solution, the better it will be at the end, right? And in that case, so we have more compute throughput and a higher memory bandwidth, and that means this will give you a higher calculation process for the hash rate. And there is nothing to change here. Then coming to return of invest. Here, if you compare those solutions on an optimized way, you can achieve a very good performance of the 470 card, and that's the reason why this is our current most sold card since almost 1.5 years, specific in that segmentation. You saw as well that there are new applications coming out, and it's not only the graphics card which matters, it's also the CPU architecture. So for example, for Monero, you can see a dramatic improvement on using your CPU inside a data center as well as at home to use it for cryptocurrency mining. It's quite interesting, and we saw already a lots of systems, and this is exactly the point where the people are asking about more PCIe lanes to connect more cards, or even sharing workloads. So think about a workstation. So we have customers, they're doing their daily job, rendering whatever during the day, and at night they're starting the mining application to get the money back from the machine. So there are several ways the people are using it. And also in the gaming industry currently. So there are a couple of manufacturers, which I can tell you, which will come soon. They're working with the same algorithm. And I will show you an example on a later stage about that. This is about ROI. So I did a calculation, and this is based on, it was based on $430 on the ROI, and I did the calculation on 12 cents per kilowatt hour and 4 cents per kilowatt hour. And you can see that for Ethereum, the 570, 470 is still the best solution for it. And on Monero, it's the Vega in regards to HBM. It's more engine driven. Therefore, the ROI calculation looks better. If you do this for 4 cents, of course, it will become a little bit better because the power costs are going down significantly. And if you do the math, it's so interesting to see. If you have just a couple of cards, yeah, the difference is not that big. But if you have 1,000 cards installed or 10,000 cards, then it's a huge difference between the power cost and the efficiency. And having said, there are new coins coming out, or algorithms. For example, the NeoScript algorithm, and similar to Monero and Electroneum. So you have a specific algorithm, and with that specific algorithm, you will be capable to handle about 18 different coins, which is quite interesting. And this is all driven by graphics, and it's not doable by ASIC mining. And this is exactly the next point, ASIC versus GPU compute. So you all heard maybe about this E3 mining solution, which is also capable for Ethereum, driven by Bitmain. So you need to think about, and I was shocked in the beginning because they advertised this solution for $800, and I was thinking, oh, this could kill our graphics business again. Are we short in time? No. Okay, I got the point. Okay, then we found out that this was good thing. It was just a marketing gag, so it was just a limited quantity they sold, and now you need to pay about 2,200 plus the power supply, and you are very, very limited. And why you are limited? You need to think about an ASIC is good and better for a specific task, right? But as soon as you would like to enlarge the task, then you are out. And we have a very good example where lots of customers got pissed already is about Monero. So talking about the S9 and X3 miner from Bitmain, from one day to the other day, those solution was useless. And I'm talking about April 16th, where we could see a significant drop in the difficult level on the Kryptonite algorithm. It was going down about 80%. And banning those solutions. And this is just a basic update about, I can tell you that Vitalik from the Ethereum community, as well as the Zcash community with Equihash, sorry, and some others, they talking about further hard forks to prevent ASIC miners to step into it. It's not an emotional topic why they want to move into this. It's just to keep the system decentralized. Because everybody knows for Bitcoin, for example, the people are running all the ASIC miners. And being very honest, we have only 3 major partners which are owning those miners. So that means you're destroying the decentralized system. And we all know on a proof of work concept, if you have more than 51% of the overall hash rate, then you can theoretically manipulate the database. And that's the reason for every enterprise-based solution, the industry and the community is interested in to keep it decentralized and not having a specific big force again which can manipulate the system. One word in regards to security. So we know that the database is secure. Okay, that's a given. But how can we transfer data to this system and how can we take data from that system, making sure nobody will intrude it or manipulate it like this ATM algorithm or example. So therefore, we working with different partners together to cryptographically secure specific this communication. And you need to think about having IoT with that sensor. So you need to make sure that the connection between the devices, it doesn't matter if it's a small device, if it's a PC, if it's for supply chain management, or even if it's a server, it must communicate with the database. And here, and this is exactly the point where you need hardware again, is to make sure that this will be secured. A good example is the Ledger Nano S. It's a hardware wallet key. You can secure your wallet more professional than just having it on your computer. And the idea basically is to remove this piece of hardware, to have it built in Epics, in server, have it in workstations, and having it in the clients. That you can really make sure that your identity, your private key will be secured in that manner. And this is really important because currently this is the biggest bottleneck. And this is exactly what you can read in the news. 28 million stolen here, 5 million stolen here. It's all during the transactions. And yes, it's a new technology. Think about this development curve. So we are at the first percent. So of course the technology is running. Think about cars, beginning of the 19th century. It was running, it was moving, but not really good, right? And that means the people need to work together to find new ways, improved ways to drive this technology further. And this you will see in the next couple of years because there are so many fields, medical, gaming industry, supply chain management, which will leverage from that technology. And specific ones, we're talking about drone highways, autonomous driving. It all requires a stable, sustainable, secure database. Yeah, 2 minutes. So last point is about the solutions. So you have container-based systems. You can see this outside as well. I don't want to dig into it that much. In regards to the rack solution, you see it more professionals that they put it into a liquid oil to cool it down, driving efficiency. Then they are specific for mining. There are solutions. We're talking about plug and play. This is the next big thing. So the people don't want to invest into engineering and maintenance. So they want to buy the black box like a server, software pre-installed, turning it on, installing the wallet, done. So these solutions we can see. Sapphire has nice solutions in the showroom. So please take your time to watch them. And in the gaming area, you will see something coming soon in the next 3 months. This is what I can tell you, where you can use the machine specific for your kids, that they run token generation as well as gaming in the same time. And I'm not talking about token generation for cryptocurrency. I'm talking about token generation for marketing purpose or specific tokens you can collect or you can use to purchase new games, to purchase new hardware, which is offered on that platform. It will be a big thing coming soon. And then software, I will just skip it. That's it. Thank you very much, and sorry for taking more time.